Let me paint you this picture. We get a cutscene where the zombies come to Verdansk and Captain Price knows he needs to stop it. In this cutscene, Captain Price goes back to the nuclear silo and inside puts in the launch codes to send the nukes at Verdansk. He launches the nukes into the air and they explode over Verdansk. The screen fades to black. But then some words pop up on the screen saying 37 years earlier. This just so happens to be 1984 when Black Ops Cold War takes place. So I mean, like, I hate to tell you I told you so, but it turns out that I was right. Now, I wasn't fully correct. We don't know if that entire cutscene that I made up is going to be what actually happens, but what we do know is that Verdansk and Warzone is going into the 1980s. Now, the reason why we know this isn't an April Fool's joke, is because of a trailer that actually got leaked. Now, with leaks, I can't show you any of the actual images or video or anything like that because they will literally take down my channel, but I can talk about it and explain to you what is in this trailer and what we can expect to see with the new Warzone map. So first things first, like I said in that very original part back in February, Warzone is going into the past, into the 1980s, and it's going to take place around that like Black Ops Cold War era kind of time. However, it is still going to take place in Verdansk with some new locations and changes to existing locations. Let me explain a little bit more. So basically what happened yesterday is someone got their hands on a commercial for the new Warzone map. Now, I don't know how, because this commercial was not finished. There were things that weren't edited properly. There was very clearly scenes that weren't going to be what the final thing was. But they got their hands on it, and there were celebrities in it like Young Thug and Jack Harlow, and they were essentially playing in game. So it was like a live action trailer mixed with gameplay, like we've seen in the past with Call of Duty. Now, at one point in this trailer, it all of a sudden rewinds, and all of a sudden Verdansk is no longer the Verdansk that we know, but a Verdansk of the past, of the 1980s. Now, the first thing that we see in the past is one of the more interesting ones. It's Donbass Stadium, aka the Verdansk Stadium, but it is being built. It is not yet finished, and in the background you can see downtown Verdansk. However, a lot of the buildings aren't actually there. It's like a more simplistic area, and in the background you can essentially only see two tall buildings, and they're not nearly as tall as the ones that we currently have in Verdansk. So not only is stadium going to be leveled, but also many of the buildings in Verdansk as well. The second thing that you see is actually right from the Black Ops Cold War campaign, and it is the Duga. So this is the thing that you see right at the end of the campaign. Depending on which ending you chose, you may have actually not seen this, but if you go there, essentially where this takes place is near Chernobyl, and this is like an over the horizon radar system that actually was in real life in near Chernobyl, and this was in the game, and we see it in the trailer as well, so it would make sense that this is a location that would be coming to the new map. The other one is really odd. So basically, you know where dam is in Warzone in Verdansk? So this dam is normally there. It's blocking water. There's ice at the top. Well, this dam is gone in the 1980s version. Instead of a dam, it is just a big bridge that spans a gap. And underneath the gap, there is no water. There is kind of like a forested area with a path going down to it. And there is no water in this area, which is kind of interesting. The next one's kind of hard to explain, but the next thing we see is a train track. The train track goes underground through a tunnel, but it looks kind of like old school, like what they would use during the Prohibition with, like, you know, like the little hand crank train carts. The best image I could find for this is actually from Sicario. It looks like this, but picture this with a train rail also inside. So the rest of the commercial that we see is absolutely not finished, but the one area that we do see is airport. This is the final area that we see, and basically it looks like the airport is kind of not finished, and all of the planes that are at the airport are not destroyed like they are in the current version of Warzone. So that is the last thing that we see. So several updates just in that alone that are going to change the map, and you know there's going to be many more other than that as well. It appears as though the entire map is going to be changing into the past, but the overall layout is going to be similar, which I think is a pretty cool idea. This also gives them the option to change the time period forward, and we can see kind of Verdansk evolve from the 1980s until the map that we know in 2020. So for example, they could build up the stadium a little bit, water could go into the area underneath the new bridge or what was the dam. I'm curious if they're going to do something like that. It's just an idea and definitely isn't happening for sure. So the final question with this is, how is this going to happen and when is this going to happen? So let's start off with the how. now, as I think that's a little bit more interesting. So what's interesting is like this story actually like kind of continues today. So basically we know that there's a zombies outbreak currently going on in Verdansk, and today it's spread to the TV station. Now, doing this, there is still only zombies at that one location. It's not like we have them at the TV station and at the bank. But in the blog post that Activision put out today, the infection rate is now at 33%. And on top of that, in the image that they put out, there is some more Morse code, and it says, "All hope seems lost. Evacuate, not contained." So basically what we found out is that basically the media is lying to the people, and none of this basically outbreak is contained whatsoever, as we're seeing from that Morse code. Earlier on, we saw other Morse code that specifically said a conflagration is to be expected, which basically means that they're going to do something that is going to cause harm to the area, the property, and the people living there. So what we know is that something big's happening, like a nuke. The missile silos have opened within Warzone, and as of yesterday, another Easter egg happened as well. So you may or may not know about this, but every once in a while, you'll get into a game on Verdansk where essentially missiles are being shot overhead. And I've seen videos of one missile going by midway through a game, but I got in a game last night where a missile was going off every 1 to 3 seconds. It was insane. They were constantly going off, and eventually this Russian person started talking over the radio. In fact, there was 2 Russian people, 1 male and 1 female, and I don't speak Russian, so I don't know what they were saying here.
Страж 6-8, повторная атака. 6-8, контакт.
We're in the safe zone.
Отрицательно. Мимо.
So if you can understand this, feel free to let me know what they're saying in this down in the comments. And then the other part about this is in this same match. So if you get into one of these matches where these missiles are going overhead, you will also have like an emergency broadcast happen mid-game, as you're seeing here. So clearly this is like the containment protocol in Verdansk for these zombies, and it's amplifying extremely quickly. So with this, people are expecting this to amplify once again, and them to have to shoot missiles at Verdansk, then blow up, and then we are going to move to the past. Like I said before, probably in that cutscene, it's going to fade to black. We're going to see something that says like 37 years earlier, and then boom, we will be in the 1980s with a brand new Warzone map. So that is essentially the story behind how this new map is going to happen. Now, the next question, when is it going to happen? So it's kind of hard to answer and kind of easy to answer at the same time. So first of all, with the outbreak percent jumping up to 33%, we can see this amplifying incredibly quickly. Over the next couple weeks, I see it going up to 50%, and then eventually we'll be up near 100. And with it going as fast as it jumped today, we can see this happening by the beginning of Season 3. And that's kind of what makes the most sense. So if you don't know when Season 3 is starting, it's going to be around April 22nd, which honestly is pretty soon, right around 20 days from now. Now, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but this actually ties in with the story of Black Ops Cold War, because currently in Season 2, we know that Adler is captured, and what they said is that they are taking him to Verdansk. Naga was having a conversation with Stitch, and they say, we're taking Adler to Verdansk, and that didn't really make any sense, because currently in Warzone, the map takes place in 2020, and they're not going to just bring him 20 years into the future through a time machine. But if the map goes into the past, this story with Adler being captured can be then brought over into Warzone, which would make a lot of sense and make that timeline where we see these next cutscenes actually tie together. Now, we normally in the past with Black Ops Cold War get a ending cutscene for a season and then a beginning cutscene for the next season. So we should have a pretty good idea if this is going to be happening before the end of Season 2. And my best guess is Season 3 is when this is going to happen. So keep April 22nd in mind for this new map. So that is all of the information that we know about this new map and the new update. Season 3 looks like it's going to be pretty juicy for Warzone, so stay tuned to the channel And as we get more information, because we are going to get more teasers and this zombies outbreak is going to amplify. So as that happens, I will keep you guys updated and hopefully we can get some more predictions right as well. But if you enjoyed the video, it's always appreciated if you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn notification on. Let me know what you think of this new map idea down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace out.